Okay, hi everyone, welcome. Hi. Thanks for everyone for being here. Also, thank you for everyone who's on Zoom right now. Um, the people who showed up in person, that's really awesome because I would be a Zoom person for sure. So yeah, I'm Alexis. I'm with SIMBA. I am our business service and communications associate. This is our third course of the SIMBA School of Business. We've done 2 already. Our first one was done, it was on compliance and startups. And then our second one, we actually had a CPA from Amber Jasmine from Jasmine Group. She came and talked about kind of the basics of bookkeeping and all that. And that one was on our second one. And so today we're going to do social media, web design, and SEO. All of these are going to be uploaded onto YouTube on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. And we are going to upload those all. Also, if you guys miss something or anything like that, if you RSVP'd, I'm going to send you my presentation and there's clickable links and everything. So don't worry about it also. I want to shout out Port of Whitman County and the Chamber of Commerce for helping us and organizing this. That's really awesome. I think we were here last year and we did not have this turnout at all. And but working with the community has helped a lot. So let's get started. Also, I just want to tell you guys, if you guys have questions or anything, please feel free to ask. Just raise your hand. Grace will give you a mic, and it's not going to amplify your voice. It's just so that people can hear you guys on Zoom. So please do not feel nervous to just ask questions. If they're specific or anything to you, please ask them. I want this to be more of a conversation and just us talking. Also, I like to say I have internet brain. So sometimes I'll say things and sometimes people don't know what it is. Just please ask me a question and we can get it all worked out and I'll explain it a little more. We really leaned into this school, as you can tell. So here's our syllabus. I'm gonna give you guys a quick introduction to SIMBA and WSMA, and then we'll go over to social media. We'll do some web design, some SEO 101, and then we'll have a section at the end so you guys can ask questions. And then I'll also, if you don't want to ask in front of everyone, we can talk afterwards and just chit chat. If also you want to expand on any of these topics a little more, SIMBA offers free business support. So we can meet in person, we can get on Zoom, we can kind of chat and talk about what your business needs. Spokane Independent Metro Business Alliance, SIMBA, that's why we say SIMBA. We're not just in Spokane, we are actually serving over 15 counties in Eastern Washington. We're a 501c3. We are focused on educating, giving resources, events to small business owners, and basically just being an overall resource to helping people start a business, but also maintain a business. So we've helped people who don't even have their business license to people who've been in business for 10, 15 years, all over the place. We are able to do that through grants. And this specific one was funded by WSMA, Washington State Micro Enterprise Association. They help entrepreneur support organizations like us, like SIMBA. So they are able to fund this kind of events and make it free so we can have snacks and goodies and promote it for you guys. Micro businesses is one that employ 5 or fewer people, including the business owner, generally does not have access to traditional credit or other conventional startup funds, and requires less than $50K in startup funding capital, which we have a lot of micro businesses. There's not a lot of businesses that are local that fit this who go above that criteria. We have more than actually 600,000 people who are employed by micro businesses, and they make up over 85% of the businesses in our state. And so we're going to go into social media to start. I feel like whenever I'm talking to business owners about social media, I'm kind of just giving them like one extra thing to do on top of their very busy plate. And so I always feel bad because I'm like, post content, that's content, everything's content. But it's really hard to keep up sometimes. But it is really important because everyone is pretty much using social media now. Like I said, I'm one of those. I have internet brain. But there's a lot of reasons why it's important. It increases your brand awareness online or in person. It also increases customer service engagement. So it gives your customer another way to have access to you, to engage with you. It's a great way for people to communicate with you and your business. Hopefully, if you're doing it right, it's going to drive website and foot traffic to your stores or online stores. It's also really valuable for customer insight. So it's a great way to see what people are posting, see what people are wanting from your business. It's also where you can highlight your products, who you are as a business. And it's also another great way to foster collaboration, networking opportunities. It's kind of just a way to kind of build a community around your brand and your business. Where to start? So I'm going to talk about the three top social media platforms are. We're going to start with Facebook. Facebook is a classic. It's been around for a long time. I like to look at like the age range. And so typically people who are on Facebook are a majority of 25 to 54. The age of 25 and 54. They really value connection, community, authentic interactions with your brand. One nice thing about Facebook is that you can have a group and have that community online. People typically who use Facebook are frequently seeking recommendations, reviews, promotions for businesses they like. That's usually what they're finding when they're on Facebook. It's ideal for event promotion, building brand communities, reaching a larger user base. It also offers more like targeted ads. So if you're really trying to target a very specific group or location of people, that is where you can go to do that, is on Facebook. And it also supports a variety of content forms. So you can link videos, blog posts, events you can do events on there. That's actually how someone here heard about us today. So yeah, Facebook is a really good start. It's definitely really made it easy now that they've integrated with Instagram, because it's under that like Meta, Mark Zuckerberg world. So you can kind of post, whatever you post to Instagram goes to Facebook, whatever you post to Instagram goes to Facebook, vice versa. Instagram is my personal favorite. I've always been really into Instagram. I'm slowly getting out of that age range, unfortunately, but it's between 18 and 35-year-olds who are using it. Instagram is a lot about visuals, so it's great for if you are showcasing a product, you are an artist, you have like visuals, like you're a videographer, a graphic designer. It's really great for that. But if you are offering more of services, you kind of have to be a little bit more creative to make what you're offering a visual and more visually appealing. It is good for boosting brand awareness, showing products, partnerships. It's great if you are trying to target that millennial and Gen Z audience. And we'll kind of talk about how to find your target audience and where you should be focusing all of your time. And then there's TikTok, which I like to say TikTok's like the Wild West. It's kind of all over the place. Who knows if it's even going to be around soon, but you are definitely going to be kind of reaching into that more younger demographic. I'm already aged out of TikTok apparently, which is annoying. But TikTok is more for like entertainment, creativity, transparency. It's also like where people are going to find new products. Me being one of them, I am always on TikTok. I am like every business's dream because I'm so easily influenced by everything. But that is where people are finding a lot of products. There's a lot of product reviews on there too, which is really nice. The pros is it's best suited for short form content, reaching younger audiences, engaging in trending topics, and sharing more real life relatable content. Usually the way I think of TikTok is like, you are going to be on there talking directly to the camera. It's very more raw, not so edited. if you're like selling, let's say like a perfume, you want to be talking to that camera, be like, wow, I really love this perfume. It's great using it, versus on Instagram or Facebook, you're just kind of showing a really cool picture of the perfume. So TikTok, you want to be more real life, more relatable. Also, it's great for like if there's any trending visuals out there, it's great to find what's trending and what's happening out there and kind of recreating it to fit more of your brand or your business. The only con that and I didn't put this on here, but this just came up. The con to TikTok is it's not great if like you're a brick and mortar and you're wanting to find like local customers and people who are like in your region. TikTok, when you send it out into the world, it goes everywhere. It's like all over the place. And you're not really getting, as like a consumer, you're not really getting things that are really targeted towards your area and where you're at, unless you're following or have common friends and everything like that. So TikTok, it's great if you have like an online platform that you're trying to get like a lot of visits and views, if you want to go viral. But I think Instagram and Facebook are probably like the best to start when you're just getting started. And then there's other platforms. There's Pinterest. Pinterest, again, is like a very like visual board. It's like people can make vision boards and everything, but it is one that you will be wanting to post 5 times a day to even get even on someone's feed. It is like a very, very heavy posting. You want to have like a full-time person posting on Pinterest. It's great if like you are very visual, like let's say like interior design, like I used to have interior design business, and they would post all the time onto Pinterest because that's kind of where their niche was and where their clientele was. LinkedIn is great if you're business to business. So if you're an accountant or a graphic design artist or fill in the blank, like a business consultant, that is where you want to be. And you want to be posting consistently on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also very like credible. And so if you are wanting to look very professional and like well connected, LinkedIn is the great place to start. YouTube is great if you are more of like a visual, you are like an artist, musician, anything like that, I would probably recommend. There's X. I don't really know what X is used for anymore. If you want to like go and like online bully someone. And then there's Threads. Threads is connected to Instagram, and that, again, super not popular, but it's connected to Instagram, so you might as well just like post to Threads when you post to Instagram. So yeah, those are the platforms. And then, like I said earlier, your target audience is the specific group of people that you're trying to target and to purchase your services, your product, and who you're trying to get your messaging out there to. It's important to know that your target audience is not you. You have to kind of step outside and think outside the box of who you're trying to target. For me, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, I think that's dumb. But then I have to take a step back and be like, wait, people use Facebook and people use LinkedIn, and that I'm not the only one, and that I actually have to reach outside and think outside of the box. Also, a good way to determine who your target audience is like think of your best customer, like the person that you had the best interaction with, who always is coming back, who always gives you good reviews. That is like your target audience, and who you want to kind of gear that towards, because you could just be throwing it all out there, but if you don't have like a concise person of who you're trying to get their attention, it's just not going to go anywhere. So finding your target audience, you want to ask yourself a couple of questions. So what does my product or service solve for this person? Because you are the solution. So you're going to be solving their problem, and so you want to identify their problem. What are their age, gender, income, educational level, occupation? That's important. So if you're like targeting towards like a younger crowd, you know that you have a younger demographic. Gender too, like I think women typically buy more things and purchasing more things. Women like keep the economy going. That's just what I've heard. So yeah, it's so true. So like if your target audience is women, you want to gear towards women. Income level, educational level, all that. So you also want to know what their values, what their interests, what their lifestyles. So like if you are selling like athletic wear, you want to like know what do people who are athletic like to do? What other options like kind of go in with that athletic lifestyle? Also, you want to know where are they searching for products. So if you, let's say you're looking at more of an older demographic, you probably want to focus on like magazines, like the Inlander in Spokane, we have the Inlander, Spokesman Review, like more print media versus like spending a bunch of money on Google ads or like stuff like that. And then vice versa. If you have a younger audience, you want to be making sure you're spending more time on Google ads and blogs and Instagram and stuff like that. You also want to know what their cultural, social, and economic factors affecting their decision making. So there's a lot of people out there who want to just shop sustainable businesses. And if you are a sustainable business, you want to make sure you're promoting that to them. And then what other important things that they are considering when they're looking for a product or service. So if they really value like Google reviews, you want to make sure that you're upping your Google reviews because that's what they're really valuing. So that's kind of how you determine your target audience. And then you look at their customer's journey. The customer's journey is the series of steps that a client or customer follows with your company or your brand. And hopefully that'll get them to the purchasing part of the journey. And it also will create a loyal customer as well. So you start with the awareness phase. So that's when you introduce the potential customer to your brand. So that could be on social media, that could be a newspaper ad, that could be on your website. That is where they found you and where they figured you out. So when they're on that social media page, you want to make sure you position your product or service so that you are the best solution and that they decide to purchase with you. The conversion phase is when you have a customer, is when you get the money and you have a paying client or a customer. And then retention is when they've purchased something like recently and you want to kind of keep them satisfied. So whether that's sending them a thank you note, a discount email code, something like that, that is your retention phase. And then advocacy that's when you transform the customer into a very satisfied customer who's very happy and is going to go tell all their friends about you. So that is the advocacy phase. And then there is the different kinds of content. So once you figured out your target audience, you figured out what phase you want to position yourself in the journey, you want to start making content. And there's different categories because you do not just want to be posting promotional product shots and sell. You want to create a more of a like identity behind your business, and posting different kinds of content will help you create that. So there's the beginning. So there's about me brand. So that is when you want to showcase you maybe as a business owner, or you want to showcase your staff. That you want to like highlight what makes you unique and like what makes you stand out. Stuff like personal stories, milestones, employee spotlights. Like every week for a while, I was doing like a employee spotlight or a board member shout out, stuff like that, because we want to let people know who's behind the scenes and who's operating this. And then there's connection. So that fosters kind of a sense of connection. So you're providing them with like value that supports their needs and interests. So how-to guides, tutorials, tips, videos, like explaining something. I love like a video of just like someone making something. I will watch that so long. Like if someone's telling me how to do something, I love that. And also you just kind of have to give away your expertise like a little bit for free to kind of reel someone in and show that like, hey, this is how I do it. Like I used to, when I worked for interior design, I used to make reels on how to style a bookshelf, and people like loved it because apparently it's really hard and no one can style a bookshelf. I didn't know. But they loved it. I was like, okay, you got to make sure you have 3 vases here, books here, and this. And just showing like a little bit of like insight and like showing that you have like this expertise, people like to see that. And then there's education. So informative posts like educational articles, datas, showing like what's going on in like your community, stuff like that. Like I used to follow a realtor and he would show just like housing prices for my neighborhood and stuff like that. And I thought that was really informative, and I would have never known that because I don't look up real estate prices very often. And so he was showing me different kinds of prices. And then seasonal is always really easy to do. Just doing like a nice holiday photo, holiday post. Seasonal tips is really nice. Trending topics, events. Like if there's an event going on in your business district you want to showcase, that's a good one to do. All that kind of stuff. Like picking seasons that are really kind of geared towards your business is really helpful. Like we always do Small Business Week. We always promote and we always are doing stuff on that week. And just even if it's like silly holidays, like if you own a pie shop, you want to make sure you're posting on Pie Day. Like it's just stuff like that.
So national calendar stuff.
That is like a go-to for social media people, is just going and finding what's going on this week. I totally spaced that it was Earth Day and I like made an Earth Day post so quickly. I was like, wait, no, Earth Day. I got to do that. And then you can promote your products and your services because you still like, you want to promote them, you just don't want to overdo it. So this is where you do product launches, announcements, special discounts, offers, customer testimonials. That's really good. And then there's entertainment, which can be a little tricky, but this is when you want to like show that you have a sense of humor to your audience a little bit. So memes, quotes, also anything that's super engaged. So like quizzes, polls, like getting feedback from your customers is really important. We love to do like polls that are like, what are you guys looking for? What should we post? Like stuff like that, because it's interactive and people like to interact with it. And then there is collaborative. That is when you start collaborating with other businesses that are similar to yours maybe, or like-minded. Influencers. Influencers is like a little tricky. I don't know how like amazing that is. But I know we have in Spokane, we have a district of just breweries and they're all kind of in the same area and they're all like walking distance apart. And so they formed like a brewery Instagram like whole organization where they could have events that are shared, and the events are kind of geared towards like, hey, go visit all of these breweries and then you get a free, like you get a mug or, well, stuff like that. I don't know if it's a free mug, but it's a mug. But and then that way people are working together to kind of feed off and get those followers and their engagement as well. Instagram is making it really easy to collaborate because you can just have a collaborative post with other businesses. And then that way you guys are having all the same engagement. It's on your post, but you're getting both followers. Also giveaways. It's good to do giveaways also with collaboratives because then you're going to get more of a reach. And then you put it all on a calendar, like a pretty calendar like I've made here. I wish that my calendar looked like that. I go like week by week sometimes, but ideally one day I'm going to sit down and map out my whole calendar when I have time. And so you kind of want to like just start mapping it out, because if you don't map it out, the week is going to be over and you're going to be like, what do I post? Like, what do I do? I'm tired. I don't want to post. But if you have it all mapped out and have it all ready, then it's going to be a lot easier for you. And then I like to do different categories. So I like to make sure I'm not doing too many seasonal posts in 1 week, or I'm doing enough behind the scenes or stuff like that. And then I categorize it like that. I like to say post 3 times a week minimum. I would not post more than 5 times a week, honestly. If it needs to be sporadic, that's fine. If you need to have it on like every Friday I post, every Monday I post, that's fine too. Totally does not matter, just post. If that's like all you guys learn from me is just post, that's all. So just some tips on social media. Be authentic, share real stories and genuine interactions. People want to see you and they like to see faces and they like to see people talking. The algorithm just kind of pushes it naturally. I mean, not naturally, they have an algorithm, it's not natural, but they push faces, they push hands. So if you're like holding things, they like that too. Consistency, posting regular is very good. One thing I have noticed is the algorithm has kind of shifted in that it's not just going to favor people who are posting every day, posting certain hashtags, posting at a certain time, it's really pushing out more big sponsored posts a lot. And so what I usually recommend people doing is like putting more quality content versus quantity. So if you're working really hard on a reel and you post that, it's going to probably do a lot better than if you just post every day like a different thing. And that's kind of, it's shifted, and there's not like a go-to formula. Unfortunately, Meta doesn't favor really small businesses or small creators anymore. It's really pushing out like big creators, big businesses. But if you worked really hard on a reel, like take a couple days off of posting and just figure out another posting schedule. So I usually say quality over quantity as of right now. I'm kind of switching my mindset to that. Respond to people. So respond to comments, share content, participate in conversations. So don't just go on Instagram, post, and then put your phone away. You want to be engaging. You want to be scrolling as well. One thing that I usually tell businesses to do is post stories every day. Because yeah, you're not making posts, you are making little small stories, and those stories, they go away in like 24 hours. So you don't have to put like a ton of effort into them. That way you are just on the top of people's feed and people are always seeing you. So it's important. So if you're not going to post, at least post stories. You can share like customers information posts. You can share like other businesses posts, share what's going on in your community. It doesn't have to be exactly your content. You can share other people's content, and it also helps out the other people. So it's a win-win. Invest in some good images and videos that reflect your brand's aesthetic. So make sure you're posting nice quality photos and has good lighting, and it's not like blurry and random, and just have good videos. If anything, get Canva, and Canva can help you out a lot, as you guys know. Like Canva, you can make reels, you can edit on there, you can put text on there. So yeah, just if anything, get Canva too. I've also my two things is post and get Canva. And then adjust for each platform. Each platform is pretty different. Make sure you're having different image sizes for each one. Also video lengths. Sometimes Instagram will let you have a shorter, it'll be shorter versus Facebook. You can have more of a long video. So just make sure it's not like getting cut off and everything like that. So some mistakes to avoid: inconsistent posting. Don't just post like once a month. The algorithm doesn't like that. And I'm talking like the algorithm is like some god. It's not. It's like a bunch of little computers, but they don't like it. Ignoring engagement, so not responding to people, not, at least at the very least, just like heart comments, reply with emojis. Over promoting, so having too many sales posts, that can lead to audience fatigue. People don't like that. I have unfollowed businesses because I'm just tired of seeing salesy stuff. Lack of planning, so sit down, make a calendar, figure out what you want to post so that you're not having mixed messages. And then ignoring trends. So making sure you're staying up to trending topics, also trending hashtags, trending audio. That's a new thing that people are really pushing. Even if you just get a trending audio and take a video of something you're working on or your store or something like that, that will be really helpful too. Now we're going to go into web design. Why does web design matter? That's important. So basically, it's your first impression virtually. And it's kind of, as of right now, I feel like a lot of people are finding businesses online. So you want to make sure you have a good first impression. It's also more of a professional look. I think it builds credibility. People are more likely going to trust your business if you have a website, and then also if the website is professional, clear, and concise. So I always tell people, have a website. There's so many like website hosting options now that make it really easy, and that they're pretty affordable. You can get a domain, and then they have templates for you to pick from, and they have stock images, so you don't even have to really get that many photos. So have a website. It's a great way for people to just find you online. And if you need help building a website, let me know. I'll help you out. But once you get a website, make sure you have simple navigation. So keep your menu pretty straightforward. And you want to kind of categorize it so it makes sense. You want to make sure you're checking your website's load times that you should be able to do in the back end through your website host. And then also make sure your site looks good for smartphones and tablets. That's one thing I always forget to do. And then I'll just be going on my phone and I'm like, everything is out of order and it does not make sense. And I'm totally spaced. So every website host should have a desktop view and smartphone view. Make sure you're checking both of them. And then also understanding your audience. So making it so that people do not have to work to find information. People don't want to look for very long. And people just get frustrated and they're like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to look anymore. So know your audience, know the kind of questions that they're looking, and answer them before they even have to like reach out to you or anything like that. I helped someone the other day, and she has a nonprofit. I'm not going to like say her name or anything, but her website was just all over the place. She had like just long articles of just like that didn't really make sense, and it was just long pages, and it was multiple information. So she had it in like 3 different spots. You want to make sure it's super concise and it's navigated really well. And the nice thing about like website hosts is that they're going to have it all laid out for you. Unless you're making a website from scratch, it's pretty easy. So you want to make sure you have a home, and you want to make sure it's like a good first impression and have a lot of good, clear photos and a lot of information. I usually say your home page should have like a little bit of everything on there. So you want to have like your intro to yourself, maybe a promotion that you're doing at the moment, maybe just a small carousel of products, and then maybe like a call to action. So book now, schedule now, purchase now, something like that. And then you want to have an about us. So you want to share your story, your mission, your team. That's really good. That builds connection. And then products, obviously, please put your products on there if you have products or services. And you want to make sure you have really detailed pricing information, policy information, return, anything like that. You want to make sure it's on there and it's in a concise wording. So I usually tell people like use ChatGPT as a tool and just put in kind of what you're trying to say and make sure and have them kind of adjust it so it makes sense. Because there's some times where I've seen some really long drawn out descriptions. Make it concise, short, and to the point. And then offer multiple ways for people to connect with you. So if it's like a contact form, phone number, email, social media links, address if you have an address. Also, if you are doing a form, make sure you reply to people. That's another big thing. I was trying to get a hold of a gym the other day and no one replied to me for like 4 weeks, and I just finally gave up. I was like, okay, no one's talking to me. So yeah, best practices, like I said, invest in some good professional photos. That's my opinion. And maybe like a short video, like if you are just wanting kind of an overview of your business, a good video is really nice in the beginning. People like to see that. There is stock photos available on most website hosts, and that can kind of get you by, but eventually you will want to have your own photos and showcase yourself. And you want to do, like, even when you're showcasing yourself, have good headshots too. You want all the photos to be very cohesive. And then you want to stay on brand. So using the same fonts, colors, logos, the same tone of voice. And when I say tone of voice, you do want to kind of develop your own tone and like how you want to present yourself to your customer. So like, let's say for some reason, like graphic design artists are always like super funny and quirky in their websites. But if you're an accountant, you probably want to be very professional in how you talk on your website. And then make sure you keep it updated. I have seen so many websites where you can tell they have not touched it in years. And there's old information, there's old menus, there's old everything. So keep it fresh with blogs. We're going to talk about blogs at the end. I'll talk about that. News, customer testimonial, promotional items, upcoming events. Just make sure you're keeping it up to date because, again, the customer is going to, they want up to date, they want everything easy, and they want everything in front of them. So now we're going to talk about Google Business Profile. Okay, so when I say, does everyone here kind of have an idea of what Google Business Profile is? Okay, so when you're Googling something, I'm going to show you actually. I'll show you guys ours. When you Google something on Google, sorry, I should have had this up. Independent. This is what pops up. Oops, I cannot spell independent. Sorry, guys. This is what shows up on the right side. And this is your Google Business Profile. And this is very important because Google is very popular. And this is probably where most people are getting their information. So why it matters, it's free. So it's easy to claim that profile. And it is really powerful for local businesses because that is what that's what's showing up when people are searching for you. 87% of consumers use Google to find businesses. It appears in the Google search. Oh, sorry, guys. And it also improves your SEO visibility. And it basically is a free tool. So you do not have to pay to register your Google profile. And it's a good way for people to see your hours, your location, your contact information, and your services. And it's good for like if you are wanting to reach people in your region because we're all tracked all the time. So you should be using it. You should be using it for you should be updating it with your business categories and attributes. So if you're like a women-owned business, there's a little section on there where you can put that you're a women-owned business. Let's say you have free parking. You can put that you have free parking. There's a lot of new attributes that they just introduced. So you want to be making sure you're updating and using those. You can add special hours, so like holidays and seasons. When you claim your business, you are going to make a little login for Google. And they will notify you when a holiday is coming up and be like, hey, have your hours changed for this holiday? And then you can just go in there and update it for you. You want to make sure you have a phone number that you can actually connect to your business profile so people can just call you directly from Google. Also, you can do texting now too. You can also add now an opening date and new menu features. And then there's AI business descriptions too that are available now. So there's been a lot of updates that they've had. I usually tell people, treat it like it's a social media platform. So you want to add photos of your staff, the space that you're in, any projects. You do not want to use any stock photos from here for Google. Also, you don't want to use any like graphics really either too. You want to use like faces, spaces, people. Also, they allow 30-minute videos and that can help boost your engagement. You want to rename photos with relevant keywords before uploading them. And you want to make sure you're uploading it from your phone so that it can add geodata. And it's helpful for your SEO. And then also Google favors real location tagged visuals. So you want to be in that space when you're doing it. It's kind of creepy, but Google is watching us. Reviews are also a really big deal on Google. I used to work at the interior design, and there was a time where we didn't ask for Google reviews. We probably got a Google review like once every 2 months, not very often. And then we started, after every purchase, a text would go out asking for a Google review, and it just increased so crazy. And people were doing it. People like to leave reviews if you ask them. Sometimes there was bad ones, but just don't send them to those people. Just kind of skip their number. But it's really important, and that's how Google will rank you, is based on your reviews. Always respond to all of your reviews, even the negative ones. Hopefully you guys are not getting any negative reviews, but just in case, respond to them. And then also, reviews with photos perform better. Never pay anyone for a review. That's Google will like find out. They will know. So don't advertise that you're like paying. Don't do that. Just ask for a review and people will do it. Also, using like the Q&A feature on Google is really helpful. So there's a spot where you can add frequently asked questions. That is really good for staying ahead and kind of answering questions before they come up. But also, it's good for your SEO, which we're going to go into that in a second. You can now also add your products and your services. It's optional, but it's pretty helpful. I would just recommend just putting, maybe if you don't want to update it all the time, just maybe your best sellers on there, or like your top services that you offer. It's really helpful. You can also use like relevant keywords and descriptions. You can connect your like barcodes. So if you purchase from a manufacturer, you can actually connect those barcodes in there. And yeah, just showcase like what's your best selling products, best selling services. You don't have to list everything, because you do want to make sure it's kept up regularly, but maybe just giving a small taste of what you have to offer on Google is really important. Yes.
My question was just regarding the services and categories you can put for your business. For mine, I do a handyman and remodeling business. And so it gave me suggested services that I might offer.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few of them that I don't. And so I didn't select those. But every month or so, I go back and check, and they're back on there again.
Oh, no.
And I don't know how to keep that off. So one of them is like things that require other licensing, like electrical licensing. Yeah. And so then I'll get calls for people, and they're like, well, it says it on your Google profile.
Yeah. Ooh,
I'll go back on there and find out that it's been selected again.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to.
I think the products and services is relatively new, I want to say. They just started featuring that. So they're probably like working out some kinks, I'm guessing. This is not the best, what you want to hear, but you probably have to contact Google. Yeah. And or talk to like maybe like a help or a contact.
Do you have those kinds of contact information? Because I have not been able to find.
Let me look. Let me see if I can find anything. We can talk after this. I can see. But yeah, it's bad when you have to contact Google or Meta. Those are like the worst. Not the fun jobs to do.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. Stay consistent with all of your name, address, phone number across all platforms. Keep it updated with hours. That is super important. I would go to places and it says it's open on Google, and then I go and I'm just mad. So always keep open your hours. Also, Google favors more active, complete profiles. So you want to make sure if you can fill it in. And like with the products and everything, you want to make sure you're filling in as much information as possible, because Google favors that more. And then regularly post updates, events, blogs, content like that, using emojis, call to actions, keywords in the post. And then, yeah, like I said earlier, I think people are starting to transition to Google as like a social media platform. And so regularly updating it is kind of the new norm as of right now. I used a really good example of Wooden City. They're in Spokane, and they have a really good complete business profile, if you guys are looking for an example. And they have their website linked, they have reviews, they have what times they're the most busy, they have a menu on there. So the more information on Google, the better as of right now. And Google will rank your business on how closely your profile matches search queries. So if someone is looking for a local restaurant, a pizza place, there you want to make sure you have pizza, you have local, you have restaurant, all of that in there. It's also going to be based on your location to whoever's searching. So, and then it's also going to promote you based on your reviews, your backlinks, and I'll talk about backlinks in a second, and your media mentions and your citations. So if you're getting like, let's say you have a news article, a news person came and did an article about your business, that's great for your citation. And then also user engagement, so clicks and dwell time. So you want to make sure people are on your profile for a long time. So if you don't have a lot of information, they're not going to stay on there very long. You want to like try and get the more information, the better, because they are going to be staying on there. Question? Oh, okay. So yeah, you want to post weekly or monthly, share events, blogs, add photos as much as you can. Make sure you're linking your social media to it and your website as well. Also, if you're writing any blogs, you're posting anything, having a Google link in the address is really important. So like we do a lot of events, and whenever I post an event and we're at the location, I like to make sure I'm linking that location with a Google link. So when people are clicking on it, it takes them right to Google. Also, just some other tips. Review your competitors' Google business profile. That is going to show you a lot. It's going to show like what maybe you're lacking or maybe what you're doing really good in. So if you see your competition has a lot of Google reviews and they're getting a little higher on that search engine optimization, then you maybe want to increase your Google reviews as well. Also, make sure you're updating all of your information so it matches across Yelp, Apple, Maps, Bing, all those extra places. Because I'll use like Maps on my phone sometimes, and you want to make sure that matches your Google business profile as well. You want to build citations, so backlinks, like directories. So like Chamber of Commerce directories, those are really good. So the more things you can be on, the better. Like Live Local, for example. If you want to sign up for Live Local, I have information back there. That's a free online directory. Putting your information on there is great for your SEO, and it's free. And if you are like, let's say you're a realtor, you want to make sure you have a Zillow account. If you're a like I think Angie's List, that's for construction and like housekeeping. You want to make sure you're on all of those other websites as well. And then you want to get reviews too on Yelp and Facebook. One thing when you're asking for reviews, give them a direct link to post a review. Do not make them go and search for it. Send them a direct link to exactly where you can write a review, because people, if they have to search for it and like go out of their way, they're not going to do it. Yeah.
Do you have to have an Apple product to be able to do an update to like?
So the question was, do you have to have a Apple product to do an update on Apple?
Yeah, right. Obviously, I have Android.
Yeah.
Do I have to have an Apple product to be able to do those updates for like business hours and whatnot?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I would think so. I can follow up with you and get you a better answer.
That's been our huge problem.
Yeah, I know.
Apple people come to us all the time and say, "Oh, your hours are not correct." I'm like, "But we update it all the time."
Yeah.
But it's always Apple that they have an Apple phone and we don't. So we're like, how do we update that process?
Yeah, no, it is really tricky for Android users to update on Apple. And I've actually heard just from like other business owners, it's actually really hard to just update Apple in general, even if you do have an Apple product.
Crazy.
No, I've heard someone else, and someone I talked to, he owned a yoga studio, and he's like, I think it took me like 2 months to get my Apple updated on all my correct information and everything. Yeah. So I'll look into that and see. I feel like, because with Google, there's just a login. So you can log in and it's super easy. But Apple, It might not be that easy because they want you to buy the products. Yeah. Okay. So, and then there's also Google Ads. So Google Ads, I don't know if you guys are searching Google and you'll see the top search is sponsored. That is a Google ad. They are pretty pricey. I would say they're probably more expensive than Facebook and Instagram ads. So I think it just kind of depends where you're wanting to put your money into marketing, but it could be worth it, but I would monitor it carefully because it's a lot of money to be putting in if you're not getting any return from it. Also, make sure all of your Google information is up to date before you put in any money towards Google Ads, for sure, because people are going to come by. Okay, I'm going to go a little faster. Sorry, guys. I could just yap all day. Okay, so now we're going to talk about SEO. SEO is such a fun topic.
I don't know how to work this mic still. I should not be responsible for this. If you can hear me, there was a comment in the chat saying that someone who used to work at Apple said that if you need help updating, you can go into the Apple store and they will update your businesses for you.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you. Thank you, whoever said that. That's really useful. I'm glad I know that too now. So yeah, SEO, this is like where I feel like people kind of zone out. I too would zone out as well. But it is important. It is essential for your business. 68% of online experiences begin with a search engine. So today we're going to focus on Google, but there also is Bing and there's also Yahoo and stuff like that. But Google, 93% of global traffic comes from Google. So that's why I'm talking about Google so much. And then 53% of all traffic comes from organic search. So that's those non-sponsored ads. And then SEO is basically how your customer finds you, even if they've never heard of you. And SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And it's basically increasing the quality and quantity of traffic to your website through organic search. Should be free. Honestly, you do not have to pay to update and enhance your SEO. You can pay someone and they will do all of this for you, but you can pretty much do it all on your own through the back end and just having the right knowledge about it. And also, there is no quick fix and it just happens over time. So the little adjustments you make could take like maybe months or so for you to actually see it happen. But when it's done right, it is actually pays off. And I'll show you guys some tips on how to track it too. So, dang, Google is getting so much airtime today. They care about EAT, which is expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So they basically are going through everything and they're checking your website are you a knowledgeable small resource? Are other people referencing you? Are you featured on other websites? Are there articles written about you and stuff like that? And then trustworthiness. Is your content reliable and secure? So basically you kind of want to look at your website and be like, would I trust this website and whoever is giving me this information? And how they do that is they do discovery, relevance, and authority. So discovery is the crawling. I like to think of like little spiders crawling all over your website. And that is where they find the content and they scan your website. Indexing is how they categorize the content. And ranking is how they decide what content they want to feature. So it's indexing and ranking. It's ranking based on a bunch of other websites, not just yours. So the way I like to think of it is a library, and the librarian is finding the books, purchasing the books. They have all the books. Indexing, so you're sorting the labels and you're sorting by like category and like if it's nonfiction or if it's science book, stuff like that. And then it's going to choose the best books for display. So a lot of libraries will have like staff picks, bestsellers, stuff like that. That's how they are promoting those books. And that's also how they're promoting your website. So Google says the most basic signal that information is relevant is when when a web page contains the same keywords as your search query. So that's kind of what we talked about earlier. So you want to use 1 to 2 primary keywords per page. You want to place keywords naturally in titles, headings, and bodies. And you want to create content that answers the question. And we'll talk about how to kind of find keywords. There's a lot of good tools out there that can help you find keywords. Google will know if you're just putting a bunch of keywords into your content. They won't push it if there's just like if I just use small business in every sentence, they would not promote it because it wants to show that you're actually a real person. So you want to only limit to about like 1 or 2 keywords per page. So there's headings and title tags. And this kind of helps structure your page format. And this is what Google is looking at when they're crawling your website. So your H1 is your main title. And then your H2 are H2 and H3 are for subheadings. So I'm going to X out of here really quick. I like to kind of show you guys. This is our website, SIMBA, SpokaneIndependent.org. And then on here, we have a small business blog. And on this blog, I have my SIMBA small business blog, The Rising Cost of Long-Term Care. That is my H1 title. And then throughout here, I'm going to have my H2, which is the cost of in-home care, my H3, which is the cost of nursing homes. And this is just information. So this isn't normally a topic that we discuss very often. So I made sure in the beginning of my blog to put in some of our key terms that we use. So we use a small business owner. We use that quite a bit. I made sure to put Washington State because we're very regional based. So I made sure to kind of put those keywords in the front, the very top of the page to kind of help it out a little bit. And then that is basically, so your title is what's going to be your clickable link when you're looking at search results. So when you're searching for something, that title is what you click on to get onto it. So you want to make sure you have good titles that are cohesive and that they are using at least 1 or 2 keywords. And then you also want to keep the rest a little bit short, like little descriptions underneath. And then you want it to make sure it's concise and clear with relevant titles. So you're indexing your pages. So this is like a sitemap. This is the roadmap to your website, and it tells Google and other search engines what's on your page and what's being featured and also how they're connected. So typically you should be able to have access to a sitemap if you have WordPress or Wix, like they have all that. To go a little bit above and beyond, there is a link that you can follow, and I'll send it all to you guys in my slides. It's called the Google Search Console. So basically you can upload your sitemap and upload your domain into this Google Search Console, and they're going to tell you what's working and what's being pulled from your website and how to increase it and how to make it better. So I definitely recommend everyone doing this. You do have to verify your domain. So if let's say you have your domain with GoDaddy, you just have to use your verification and login to go in there. But it's going to be a good way to see how Google is already going through your website. And it's going to tell you what to fix. So keywords research, keywords are basically to help people understand, they help people understand what they're searching for. You want to identify high volume topics. So let's say your high volume topic is, for us, we do small business. That's like a high volume topic we use. And then you want to prioritize your content creation based on that. So you want to ask yourself what people are searching for. So let's say people are searching for shoes. That's a very high volume topic, but you want to go into more detailed keywords and you want to make it more concise. Like I'm looking for tennis shoes that are meant for flat feet, stuff like that. You want to see how many people are searching for it. So if it's not a very popular keyword, you probably don't want to put it in very often. and then what format do people want it in? So like if people who are searching for this, are they wanting it in a video? Are they wanting it in a blog? Are they wanting it on social media posts? And then how hard is it to rank? So if it's like a very specific topic, it's probably going to be ranked a little lower. But if you are, it depends, because like if it's a call to action, like keyword, then it's going to be geared towards people who are in that buying decision making, versus like if it's just a very broad topic, they're probably not ready to purchase. So like let's say you want to say how to start a small business. That's a good like title, versus that is going to get a lot of like traffic and it's going to get a lot of views. However, if I say book now for a free business consultation, that is not going to get as many views. However, it's going to be getting a lot more people who are actually in that decision-making process, if that makes sense. Your head terms, those are like, I guess I could have just switched to the next slide because it kind of explains everything. So your head terms are like those high volume key terms, high competition. You're going to be competing with a lot of different resources. And then your body, which is more specific, so like running shoes, and then your long tail keywords are more low volume but high intent. So best running shoes for flat feet, stuff like that. So you want to focus on very specific, high intent phrases because they convert better. And then there's topic clusters. This is kind of how you want to phrase everything on your website. Central pillar page, which would be like your main topic. And then you want to have other little subtopics under that. And then you want to make sure that they are linked all together. So, for example, when we have Spokane Independent, this is our pillar page, small business blog. This is where everyone's going. And then underneath we have a lot of little tiny, not tiny, but smaller subcategories like small business, long-term care, help protect business services like that. These are all the different categories, how you connect it. And so Google will go through all of these and it's easier for them to index all of these versus let's say you just have a bunch of run-on blogs. Like it's just, you just scroll down and there's just blogs and blogs of information. You want to have different categories and different pillar, You want to have different categories to help filter it. Cluster pages to help kind of dive into those subtopics. Same with if you have products. You want to make sure that you're linking all of your products into different categories so it's a little bit easier for those crawlers to go through. And then giving them their own pages so that it's not just a run-on of information. There's different pages for each one. That is how Google understands and how to track it. So for example, the ultimate guide to eating healthy, that would be your pillar page. And then you would have cluster guides of other little subtopics for that. And then when you are building your SEO, you want to make sure you are looking at it from a customer and a consumer, not just Google, but making it so that it's easy for your customers and your consumers to get all the information. So you want to make sure you're targeting what are their goals, what are their challenges, what words do they use? So like let's say we use the word entrepreneur a lot, but let's say every day everyone usually uses small business owner. I'm probably going to use small business owner versus entrepreneur because I'm trying to retailer those keywords to fit them. And then also asking like what kind of content are they looking for? Again, once you know your target audience, you kind of get an idea of what they are looking for and how they like that format. Okay, and then this kind of goes back into the buyer's journey. It applies for SEO as well. So your awareness phase is kind of that how-to content, blogs, people are finding you, people are learning about you. And then your consideration phase is when you want to present the solution and you want to present the product. And then the decision is when that comes in with like reviews, product pages, and then CTAs, which is call to action pages. And then there's a fun thing called backlinks, which we kind of talked about a little bit. Backlinks are links from other websites that point to your website. So the more backlinks you are on, the more that Google is like, this content is trustworthy and useful and we like it and we're going to promote it. So a local blog that links to your product page in a review, that's really good. So let's say if you have a local blogger and you have a product and you're like, hey, can you write a blog about this product or something like that, that is going to be a good for your SEO. Other like articles, like I said earlier, if a news agency does an article based on you, that is going to increase your SEO. Also, any other directories like Chamber of Commerce, Live Local, SIMBA member directory, those are also going to help with your SEO too. And those are just the backlinks. And basically, Google thinks that you're trustworthy and you're awesome. So here are some SEO tools to try. Some of them are free, some of them are pretty low cost. The Google Search Console is really that one I was telling you about where you can upload your sitemap on there and it will tell you information of what you can increase and what you can make better. Google Keyword Planner, that's where you're going to find a lot of good keywords. Answer the Public, that is going to tell you what people are asking and what people are searching for. Moz Keyboard Explorer, that is going to tell you what is trending, what's the keywords that are trending, and also like what other competitors are doing. And then your Keyword Surfer is a Chrome extension that you can just pull off of. So when you're searching and looking for things, you can pull things from there. So quick things that you can do today to help you start is claim your Google Business Profile, add keywords to most of your important pages, fix any titles or heading structures, write one helpful blog post per month. Like, honestly, if you even just use ChatGPT, just write a blog post. It's really helpful. Also, one time, a long time ago, this is one of my SEO fails. I did not like the way that the blog post was formatted. So I did everything on Canva, and then I just uploaded it to the website. Well, that was silly because it did not pull or track any of the keywords. So if you have any writing, you want to make sure the text is on the page because the crawlers, the creepy crawlers, they're not going to pull it from you. So any images or anything, they're not going to pull from that. So that was one thing I learned the hard way. And then go on and try and get as many backlinks as you can. You can sign up for Live Local today, your business, if you're a local and independent. And that is another backlink you can add. Okay, does anyone have any questions? I know I just threw a bunch of information at you guys. Any questions on the Zoom?
Someone was asking about Blue Sky. Is there anything that we know about Blue Sky?
No, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Zoomies. No Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, I do not know.
It's another social media platform, and everybody that's using it says no one is here.
Okay.
No one is here, and
Yeah.
you try to find interest in things. So mine kind of has a lot of art and stuff. It is heavily political on the Democratic leaning side right now. It's not supposed to be censored. They have added an accessibility option to describe photos is right built into it so that you can put the alt text for photos. So it's supposed to be high accessibility. They're adding more function every day as far as groups, events, and things like that. But everyone is saying, no one is here.
Yeah.
No one is here. I don't know if it's going to catch on or not, but there's about 100 people locally that I know. And so
Okay.
I'm there and we're struggling to find each other and see stuff and find our interests and see if it catches. But everyone is just saying no one is here.
No, yeah. It takes a while for a social media platform to kind of kick off and grow. Like, and then also some of them just go away too. Like it's totally changing, and like social media is always changing, and you kind of just have to adapt. And unfortunately, you're also adapting to these big like corporations who are changing it as well. So yeah. No, I've never heard of that, but thank you for explaining that. So that's blue sky's a no.
High accessibility. Like I said, they've got now on all the imaging, you can add the alt text to describe it. This is a photo of me walking through my garden in Albion, Washington today, so that low vision can enjoy your content.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, maybe it'll pick off. Maybe it'll take off one day. Because like TikTok was not a thing until it just took off during the pandemic. Any other questions, comments? I do not mind sticking around a little bit. If anyone has questions, we can talk. Also, we're SIMBA, we're here to help your small business. So if you ever want to schedule a one-on-one consultation with us, we have a short intake form and we can meet in person. We can meet via Zoom. I specifically do marketing, social media, website, but we do a wide variety of topics, anything from like bookkeeping, business planning, nonprofit assistance, if any of you have a nonprofit in here. And then we also just host a ton of events like this all the time. So just stay up to date with our event page. We have a YouTube channel. So this is going to be on YouTube, but we also have some previous ones on YouTube already. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, please. And then, also subscribe to our newsletter. It's so amazing and so cute. I'm very biased because I make it, but it's really useful. And it has like all of our events. It has any like opportunities that we think small businesses need to know about. We try and like gear it towards a small business. And yeah, that's my spiel. Thank you all for coming.